Orangutans once existed all the way into southern China, and the large ancestral orangutans that lived in mainland Asia were in fact a lot larger than the extant or the living species of orangutans that we see today. So much so that they weren't really arboreal. They spent most of their time on the ground. In fact, they were, by all evidence, the largest great ape to ever exist. And we know about them not because of the usual fossil records, because the rainforest, as you might suspect, is not a good place for fossils. Orangutans, when they die, will disappear in days, if only weeks at a maximum, not the hundreds of thousands of years that we would expect in a temperate climate or dry desert climate, where we know so much about human evolution from places such as Olduvai Gorge. But we know them from the collection of what is called dragon bone for the Chinese medicine trade. And collectors have been going into these caves, which are actually fantastic places for fossilization, and collecting these unknown bones and selling them as dragon bones in the Chinese medicine trade. But as a hint, I guess, to why the ancient Gigantopithecus orangutans went extinct, is the humans, when they first came to Asia, were hunting and eating the Gigantopithecus, dragging the bodies back to these caves and consuming them and leaving the bones to later be collected as a fossil record by anthropologists looking through the Chinese medicine markets in Hong Kong and China. Now, an interesting kind of factoid is, as you probably know, in all cultures there tends to be a mythical big ape that exists somehow out there in our imagination. In America it's a Bigfoot or the Sasquatch. In Australia it's a Yowie. And they all tend to be these large black apes that exist somewhere out there in the wilderness. Interesting enough, in Asia and in southern China in particular, it's wild man. And the interesting thing, of course, with these ones is that they're orange, not black, like most of these mythical ape creatures, which is interesting because obviously orangutans were there many, many years ago. And even in Vietnam, you have these reports of American soldiers during the Vietnam War complaining about rock apes. These are large orange apes that you just throw rocks at them when they were trying to fight the Viet Cong. Now, do I believe that the ancient Gigantopithecus orangutan still exists in mainland Asia? Unfortunately not. Of course, there's a small part of me that wishes it could be true. But what we do know is people have been destroying, through hunting, the orangutan populations for some time. And so now we're left with just the three species, Sumatran, Bornean, Tapanuli. And it's our role now to ensure that hunting and now the destruction of the habitat through replacing of their habitat through unsustainable forms of monoculture such as palm oil and pulp paper, that we now stop the last remnant populations of a much larger and diverse group of orangutans and species across the whole of Asia, and we put an end to it now and bring these three species through the extinction crisis.